What is going on, guys? Welcome back to part 2 of the Razor Drift Kart project. Today I'm going to be refinishing the frame, and I'm also going to be going over all the parts that we're going to be using for this project. On the last video, we got this Razor Ground Force go-kart stripped down to bare frame. Here are all the old parts that we took off. I also modified the seat so that we're able to mount it 2 inches further back to make this kart a little bit more comfortable for an adult rider. Now that we got the surfaces all sanded down, it's time to continue prepping it for paint. I figured it'd be a better idea to pre-drill all the holes for the batteries and controller mounting points so we don't have any raw metal exposed to the elements and prevent any corrosion. Now I'm going to wipe down the whole kart with acetone and get to spraying. Before you do any sort of spray painting at home, make sure you have a proper respirator that's designed for it to reduce the chances of you inhaling anything toxic. I'll have this one linked in the description. But as far as color that we're gonna go with for the frame, I decided to go with textured black. This is actually truck bed coating by Rust-Oleum. I needed something very durable since we're likely gonna be banging this kart around quite a bit. I really like some of the suggestions, such as the fluorescent orange, but I already did that for my MX650, so I just want to do something a little different this time, and I need something really tough. My favorite suggestion is by Votam, which is dark glossy purple. I really love that look, so I'm likely going to be doing that for my next Razor. And here's what the paint surface looks like after drying overnight. We're about 9 hours after spraying. I was worried at first since it came out kind of blotchy when I laid it down wet, but it actually evened out really smoothly and it almost looks like it's powder coated. Very similar finish to my Talaria. I messed up a couple small spots, like I had some dripping over here, but for the most part, what I laid down wet, it actually turned out really even, surprisingly. So I'm excited how this is gonna look and hold up over time. But I'm gonna let this cure some more, maybe another day before we put the kart back together, just to make sure that I don't ruin the finish. Surprisingly good spray out, considering this is bed liner in a can. While we're letting the frame cure some more, let's go upstairs and go over all the electronics that we're using. Here's everything that we're using for this project, starting with this headlamp. This is an 8 LED, so it should be pretty damn bright. This one's supposed to be good from 12 to 80 volts, so there's no need to wire in a voltage step-down converter. And the same thing for this tail light, which I'm planning on mounting on the back side of the seat. It has a functional brake light, which I'm planning on wiring to the factory brake lever. I've never actually done this on a stock Razor lever before, but hopefully I'm able to figure out the wiring. I'm also replacing the factory thumb throttle with one with a heat ignition switch and built-in voltmeter. Similar one to what I use on my MX650s. So it's definitely gonna look a lot nicer. I also got some handlebar tape for the steering wheel because I just think it's a little uncomfortable to just hold a cold piece of metal. This one is actually supposed to be for a road bike, but it should make this a lot more comfortable to hold. And then the controller I'm using is a 500 watt, 36 volt brushed DC motor controller. This one actually came off one of my older e-bike kits I got from Amazon, but you can get the controller by itself for like 20 bucks. Then we're gonna supply power to that by these two DeWalt 20 volt max 5 amp hour batteries. I'm gonna wire them in a series using these two adapters. And then I decided to use the original motor since I like the design of the bracket where it's threaded, and it's a lot heavier duty than the later model ones, like the one on my E300. So supplying the motor with 40 volts should definitely give this thing a lot more torque and overall power, higher speed. So we'll see how this all works together. And then I got a spare harness from one of my old Weber kits. I'm probably going to be stealing some connectors from, so we can have everything wired directly to the controller without modifying this too much. And then as far as tools that we're using, just got a soldering iron kit, a voltmeter, some heat shrink tubing, some self-soldering wire connectors, wire crimpers, wire strippers, and a pair of dikes. If you're interested in checking out any of the items that we're using for today's project, I'll have everything linked in the description below. All right, let's go see if everything works together. Blue and yellow goes to the motor. Power wires. Lock wires for the controller are red and blue. That goes to the blue and yellow wires on the throttle. And as far as the other three wires, I'm really not sure which one goes to which since the colors don't match. Black, red, and green are pretty universal for throttles, but blue, black, and red are not. Well, black is always ground, so let's start with that. Key on, 40.7. Variable throttle works. So if you are planning on using the same exact throttle, red goes to red, black goes to black, and green goes to blue. Now I want to figure out how I want to hook up the headlight and the brake light. We're just going to have to do process of elimination here. So I figured out what the remaining three connectors do. This black connector with the black and red wire is a constant 40 volt whenever it's keyed on. So I'm gonna hook this up to the headlight because I want that on all the time. And then the black and yellow wire going to the white connector is actually the brake signal switch. That's supposed to hook up to the brake lever. And then the black and red wire going to this blue connector is supposed to go to the brake lamp. And for testing purposes, I hooked up the headlight to it for now, just to show you. When you activate the brake lever, it actually turns on the headlight. So I figured out how I'm gonna hook it up. And here's how the steering wheel wrap turned out. I think it looks a lot cleaner and it's very comfortable to hold. It feels very similar to the Nardi suede steering wheel on my actual project car. I actually added a little bit of a JDM touch to it as well. So now we just key on. Headlight turns on automatically. Brake lever switch right here. So much better. All right guys, well I'm gonna let the car cure for another day before we fully put it back together. I'm still waiting for a few pieces for the axle anyway. For now I'm gonna charge up the Talaria because I am gonna go on a long PEV ride with a couple buddies tomorrow, so make sure you stay tuned for that. If you enjoyed today's video, do me a favor and hit that like button. And if you like this kind of content, want to keep up with the Razor Drift Kart project, consider subscribing to this channel. But this is going to be it for today. Thank you for watching.